Hello there, it's Jason Dorr from the Marine Channel. I'm down here at Swanwick Marina. Now I've just been on board an Axopar 22. If you've not seen the review, look up there. I'm going to put a link up there, you can have a look at that. But the guys, when I went back into the office, said, well, why don't you get on the 25? Why don't you jump on board? I said, well, what's the point? It's only 80 centimetres longer. Surely it's the same boat. They went, no, it's not. There's a few differences. So I thought I'd take the opportunity and get on board the 25 and see where those differences are and share those with you. So let's go take a look. So here she is. Now this one is in the standard sort of white gel coat finish. The 22 that I showed in the other review had a sort of special pack on it. I guess like anything, you can do what you like. You can wrap these and put stickers on and all that kind of good stuff. I think it looks quite nice actually in this plain white finish. Couple of things to point out here. If you've seen the other review, you'll know that I spoke about these this kind of stepped hull design that's on all Axopars. The logic there being, and this boat's a little bit higher up so you can see it easier, that this creates almost like a layer of air between the hull and the sea, and that reduces friction, helps with performance and economy. I've got to say, these boats dynamically are extremely good. Now this has got a 200 horsepower Mercury engine on it, which is the same as we saw on the 22. Yes, it's fractionally heavier, not much though, something a little bit less than 100 kilos more, but it does mean that performance on this is around 36 knots, and I think on the 22 it's slightly higher, kind of 40 plus. You'll notice as well that this has got a slightly different anchor setup than we saw on the other boat, but we'll have a take a look at that when we get up on board. I think it's a good looking boat. So this has got they call it a T-cross top. It is a T-top, it's a fixed hard top using the same black anodised sort of metal frame there, which looks rather smart. So there's a couple of visual differences over the 22, that raised handrail there, it's quite noticeable. This one's got a bow thruster fitted. I understand that's an option, but I could see the appeal of that. Anything that makes boating easier makes it more fun, in my opinion. And then again, around the back we've got our bathing ladder and our Mercury 200. This one's got the white finish on the engine cover. You can have the darker finish as well. And then our twin tabs, twin trim tabs down here. Now in absolute numbers, this boat, as I say, is 80 centimetres longer, which sounds absolutely nothing at all. Price wise for this one, it's around about 100,000 English pounds plus taxes, but obviously all of that stuff varies depending on what specification you go for. So let's get on board and let's see what this boat's all about. So here we are on board, and there's a little bit of familiarity if you've seen the 22. This one is set up with the same sort of U-shaped seating arrangement back here. We've got the table in place here, which is nice. That one will swivel round whichever way you want to configure it. I would say it's probably good seating for 6 people. And we've got these lovely open lockers underneath the seats, which is ideal for all that kind of stuff you might need when you're out for the day, sort of life jackets, wetsuits, fishing gear, all that stuff you don't really want to have to put in a locker. If you do want to put it in a locker, then there is some space underneath this rear seat here. Just see if I can get through to that. Flip that catch. There we go. So there's some locker space in there as well, plus your battery isolation, etc. Drop that one back down. And then this is where the boat starts to change a little bit from the 22 we saw before. This boat has got the option of, underneath these seats here, firstly a sink. That's a tap under there, kept its own little sock. And then on this side we've got a fridge with some bits and pieces in there. So as a day boat, those things are very, very useful. These seats will slide fore and aft, and they'll also turn, so you can make them into a nice sociable space back here as well. And then you've got seating for 8. Helm setup, pretty straightforward. This has got the larger 12-inch Simrad multi-display unit there. And as I mentioned before, the throttle in the middle position here is great, because if you've got someone inexperienced at the helm, maybe a child or someone who's taken out for the day that wants to have a go, it means that the skipper can sit in the other seat and they've still got access to the throttles, which may be useful in the event of an emergency. Now, this boat's also got some upgrades. It's got the upgraded audio system. There's a big subwoofer down there, and then various speakers around here, which is great because this is designed to be a party boat. So we've got these handrails around here. Now, again, what's different is that on the 22 it was walk around on both sides. On this one it's got an asymmetric design, and we'll understand why in a moment. So we've got access to the bow on the port side here, and it's quite a nice wide access. And then what you've got at the front here is actually a reasonable size sun pad, which is rather nice. And then you've got your anchor stowage there. This one's going to have an electric windlass. Again, all these things are speccable. There's a remote down there for it as well. And then looking back across the boat, so you can see how the deck space has kind of been maximised by just putting this access on the port side. So moving back down the boat, this is our T-top, by the way, just to see what the I say canvas is not canvas, it's obviously some kind of highly technical man-made material, but it looks really, really good. Gives a lot of protection from sun and rain and all that kind of stuff, and it keeps the weight down as well. Now, this is a favourite feature of mine on Axopars. We've got this perspex screen, which is fantastic if you're at the helm, but if you decide that you want to push on and stand up, then you can actually adjust this. Let's undo this side first, I'll go around the other side. There's just a couple of pressure catches here. Loosen that off a touch. Oh, and then push it up. And that now, for me, is absolutely kind of eye line. So if that was in the utmost position and I was cracking on at mid-30s, even in a little bit of weather, I would stay lovely and bone and dry. Or bone dry, I think is the correct term. But again, what I like with these Axopars is they keep everything really simple, and that keeps the costs down, but it also means there's a lot less to go wrong. Which, when you leave a boat out in the weather and the salt and the sea and all that kind of stuff, anything that's going to fail does fail. So I approve that wholeheartedly. A couple of little steps there in the side as well for stepping off and on board. But this boat's real party trick is what happens down below. Remember, this boat is just 80 centimetres overall longer than the 22. So here we are down below. So what have we got? Well, we've got a good sized double berth actually. It's quite long. A little bit of storage netting around the side, a couple of speakers. There's even a sink. How cool is that? So suddenly we've got an overnighter, which is cool. But where's the loo? Where's the loo? Where's the loo? Here's the loo. Just underneath that seat. So I'd suggest you've got to know your cuddy buddy fairly well. Although, to be fair, if you're sharing a bed, that's probably a given. But suddenly, when the day is over and you're back on your mooring, you've got that cold beer or glass of wine, and the last thing you want to do is have to go home or check into a hotel, you can stay on board. That's an unexpected surprise, isn't it, from this? 25 feet long. Seating for about 10, a toilet, a fridge, 2 sinks, a double bed. So there you go. I'm glad the guys suggested that I try the 25, because it is all too easy to walk by and go, well, do you know what? It's a little bit longer, it's about the same width. How much different could it be? And I think the answer is significantly different. You've got a sun pad up front, you've got a couple of berths down below, you've got a sink, you've got a fridge, but you've also got all the good stuff that we really liked about the 22. So there you have it, the Axopar 25, a really clever boat. Is it different to the 22? Absolutely. How they've used those 80 centimetres is genius, absolute genius. So listen, thanks very much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Please like if you liked it. Please share if you've got some friends that would also be interested in it. But most importantly, please comment. Let us know what you think of this and some of the other reviews. Maybe you're an owner, maybe you're a potential buyer, maybe you've just bought one. Tell us what you think of the boat when you've used it. Thanks very much for joining us on the Marine Channel. My name's Jason, and we'll see you all very soon.